Hey everybody, it's Wendy from Cinnamon Sweet Shop, and I'm getting ready for Mardi Gras. For this king cake, we're going to be using some bread flour. You could use all-purpose flour, but it will come out dense, so I prefer bread flour, and it is one of the few times I don't use the whole wheat pastry flour. Salt, lightly beaten egg. We're going to be using yeast, which means it's going to take a little longer to make this cake because we will have to let it rise. And with the yeast, we're going to need some sugar, some warm water. We're also going to need butter, sour cream or yogurt. Now I do have the plain yogurt rather than sour cream. Sugar. We're going to fill this with a really good cinnamon butter filling. So you're going to need cinnamon, sugar, butter. And this is a non-traditional topping. It's a traditional king cake, but I'm decorating it non-traditionally. Whereas most king cakes are usually decorated with a poured fondant or a glaze, and then it's decorated with one of the three or all three of the traditional Mardi Gras colors, which are green, yellow or gold, and purple. Well, I'm going to make mine a little bit different. I'm going to be decorating it with buttercream, and this buttercream will be colored in those three colors. So get your buttercream. I do have the recipe linked at my website, as well as the measurements for all of these ingredients. In a medium saucepan, cook the salt, sour cream, sugar, and butter over medium heat until the butter melts. When the butter's melted, take it off the heat and let it cool to about 110 degrees. Here's a quarter of a cup of water, warm water at about 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and mix in the yeast, and the sugar. Just mix it until it's not real lumpy, and then I'm going to let it sit for a little bit, about 5 minutes. For this particular cake, it's best to use a heavy-duty mixer if you have one, because it will get thicker and heavier when we add more of the flour in. You can see the yeast is nice and thick, foamy. If your yeast doesn't look like this, then your dough will not rise. It could be your yeast was outdated, perhaps the water you mixed it with was too hot, or it just was not in a warm enough location. Here, mix in the yeast. Next, the sour cream or yogurt mixture, whichever one you prefer to use, and the egg. Beat this together until well combined. Start by adding in 1 cup of the bread flour. And then mix that until well combined. And then add the remaining in sections. So I'm going to add in another cup, mix that in. And then add enough of it until it looks like a dough. Probably going to be the rest of it. On a floured surface, just knead the dough for about 10 minutes. Now, you could use the dough hook if you have one on your mixer. I actually prefer kneading by hand. And it's a great way to work your arm muscles if you want to do that, or just get out some stress. So get moving. If you skipped your CrossFit workout today, just need some bread. This is the wad. Spray a bowl with some oil. And the dough is going to just sit in the bowl for about an hour or till it doubles. Now I'm going to cover this with a towel, and I'm also going to place a warm towel around the side of the bowl. That's just to ensure that it's warm, because it's not exactly warm in here. So I just want to make sure my dough is warm enough so it does double in size. My dough has doubled. So now we're just going to take it and just hammer fist it down. And just knead it for another couple seconds just to loosen this thing up. Next, we're going to roll this out into a 22-inch by 12-inch rectangle. Well, this is as good as I'm going to get it. It really doesn't have to be a perfect rectangle. And this is where you're going to want to make sure your butter is super, super, super soft at room temperature. Spreadable consistency, because that's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to spread it all around with minus an inch on the outside. We're going to leave that inch clear because we're going to be rolling up the dough from there. So just spread through the center. Combine the cinnamon with the sugar, mix that up a little bit. And from there I'm going to just sprinkle it across. Next, roll this up, and we're going to roll it up from the long side. So almost like a jelly roll type of cake, or a deco cake. And I'm just going to press this in. And on a jelly roll sheet, I'm going to put this around and bring this to more of a circle. Now, where the seam is, I kind of like to let that go hang down on the bottom. So I'm just going to twist this a bit to keep that like so. And these ends, I'm going to just pinch them together. Now they may not stick, so you can use a little bit of water. And you know, if they still don't stick, or if it doesn't look all that even, it's not a big deal. This still looks is a very good cake. So we're just going to play around with this a little bit. Let this sit for another 20 to 30 minutes. It will rise again for a little bit. It's nice and round. Put this in a 375-degree oven for about 14 to 16 minutes, or until it turns a light golden brown. Once your cake cools completely to room temperature, we're going to then decorate this, and I'm going to be decorating this using a technique called the Petal Technique. So to do this, you're going to need a rounded edge tip. I have a pick that I found somewhere that I'm going to use. You could also use a spatula, or you can use a spoon. And you're going to need 3 shades of buttercream icing. So I have the yellow gold, purple, and I have green. Here I have a star tip that I'm going to use. You could use a plain old round tube as well. Holding the tip straight out, I'm going to squeeze a star like so. And then with the rounded tip, just go in halfway, push down and out. Then I'm going to squeeze another tube right here and go through again and push it in and then out. I'm going to do this all the way around for this bottom row. It does take a little bit more time to do this type of technique. So after you finish the first row, I'm going to pick up another color, in this case purple, and directly on top, or right above rather, the one star, I'm going to squeeze out another one in purple. And just do the same thing with the tip. Just squeeze down, push out, and then squeeze right on top of it. Not on top of it, but right next to it. And then do the same thing. You could squeeze out. You want to wipe off the back of your spoon periodically. And then again, we're going to do the same thing with the yellow gold color. Push that off. And when I'm finished this row, I'm just going to start over with the green until I go all the way down as far as I can reach down. This is what my finished king cake looks like. It looks great. It tastes great. You definitely should give it a try. Hope you all have a wonderful Mardi Gras 2016. Don't forget this recipe's at my website, link below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Comment below. Let me know how yours turned out. I'm on Periscope. I do live broadcasts on Periscope. Not necessarily about baking, about everything. So make sure you follow me on Periscope as well. And I will see you next time.